11 years ago, I sat in a witness box, and I told a courtroom that I heard my sister confess the night our mother died. It wasn't true, and because of what I said under oath, my sister spent 11 years in a state prison for a death that was never a crime at all. Last month she was released. She came straight to my door, not with a lawyer, not with the police. She came holding the one thing that proved I had lied. And she asked me a question I had spent 11 years praying she would never ask. My name is Margaret Doyle, and I have been the responsible one in my family since I was old enough to spell the word. My younger sister Nora was the wild one, the one who left home at 17, who called our mother at 2 a.m. from cities none of us had ever been to, who broke every rule we were raised on and somehow always got forgiven for it. I need to tell you who I was before this happened, because it matters. For 20 years, I was the daughter who stayed. I turned down a job 3 states away to be close to our mother. I let a good man walk out of my life because I couldn't leave her. I bathed her. I drove her to every appointment. I slept in a chair beside her bed more nights than I can count. I did everything right. I want you to hear that because I believed it too. I believed that doing everything right made me good. Our mother, Eileen, was 79 and dying of heart failure the autumn it happened. And Nora came back that October after 4 years away. For 3 weeks, our mother looked at her the way she had never once looked at me. Like the sun had come back into the room. I told myself I didn't notice. I noticed everything. The night our mother died, there was a storm. I remember the rain against the windows and the sound of Nora's car in the driveway, close to midnight. Mom had been on a strict regimen, her heart medication measured to the milligram because too much would slow her heart to nothing. When the paramedics came, they found an empty bottle on the nightstand. The autopsy showed a fatal level of the medication in her blood. The county called it what it looked like, an overdose, and they wanted to know who gave it to her. Understand, the case was already half built before I ever said a word. The toxicology report showed the overdose. Nora had been alone in that room with her for 20 minutes. The prosecutor had the how, and he had the opportunity. What he didn't have was someone to close the door on any other explanation. Mine was the testimony that tied it all together. Here is what I told the court. I said that when Nora left the room near midnight, she was crying, and that she said to me, "It's done. She's not in pain anymore." She never said that. I built those words in the days after Mom died, detail by detail, and then I repeated them so many times that I almost believed them myself. I sat 10 feet from my sister in that courtroom, and I did not waver. When the defense asked if I was certain, I said yes. When they asked if there was any chance I was mistaken, I looked at Nora, at my little sister, white-faced, shaking her head slowly at me like she couldn't believe what was happening. And I said, "There is no chance. I know what I heard." She got 11 years. I told myself it was justice. I told myself that for a very long time. Last month, my doorbell rang on a gray Tuesday afternoon, and there she was. Older, harder. 11 years of prison in the lines of her face. She didn't shout. She didn't force her way in. She just held up a folded piece of paper and said, "Can I come in, Maggie? I think it's time we talked about the letter." I didn't know about any letter. She sat at my kitchen table, the same table where we'd eaten as children, and she unfolded it and she slid it across to me. It was in our mother's handwriting, shaky but unmistakable. dated the day before she died. "Do you remember old Tom Brennan next door?" Nora asked. "Mom gave this to him a week before she passed. One instruction. Put it in Nora's hands, hers only, when she finally comes home." He kept it 11 years. He waited for me at the gate the day I got out. He said Mom told him I'd be gone a long while, but that I'd come home eventually. She knew, Maggie. She planned it. I read it, and the floor fell out of the world. Our mother had written that the pain was too much, that she had made her peace, and that she had decided, herself, alone, to take the whole bottle that night. She wrote that she had told no one because she didn't want anyone to carry the blame. She wrote one line I will hear until the day I die. My girls had nothing to do with this. I chose. Let them both be free. She did it herself, Nora said quietly. And she tried to protect us both. Your testimony didn't send a guilty woman to prison, Maggie. It buried the truth our mother died trying to tell. I want to tell you I broke down and confessed right there. I didn't. Because the letter forced a question I could no longer run from. "Why?" Nora asked me. She wasn't screaming, that was the worst part. She asked it gently, like she truly wanted to understand. "Why would you do that to me? I loved her too." And there it was. "Because she loved you more." I said it out loud for the first time in my life, at 58 years old, and I heard how small it sounded. I spent 20 years cleaning up after her while you were off living. I gave up everything, and I never once got the look she gave you the second you walked back through that door. When the police started asking questions, I saw a way to finally be the one people believed. The good sister, the honest one. I told myself you probably did do it out of mercy. I told myself I was only helping the truth along. I let 30 years of jealousy walk into that witness box and speak for me, and I dressed it up as justice so I'd never have to look at it. Nora was quiet for a long time. "You didn't take 11 years from me because you thought I was guilty," she said finally. "You took them because you couldn't stand that Mom loved me. And you called it justice so you'd never have to say that out loud." She was right. God help me, she was right. I could have kept quiet. The letter didn't name me. Nora was already free. No one was forcing my hand. But I had spent 11 years being the honest sister in everyone's eyes and a liar in the only place that ever counted. So the next morning, I called the district attorney's office and I asked how a person goes about confessing to perjury. It cost me. I want you to know that, because these stories always make it sound clean. I was charged. I lost my standing in a town where I had spent my whole life being respected. The women I sat beside in church for 40 years stopped meeting my eyes. My own children looked at me differently, and one of them still hasn't called me back. But I signed a full statement. I sat across from a judge and I said the words I should have said 11 years earlier. That I lied, that my sister was innocent, that our mother made her own final choice, and that I had stolen the truth from her grave. Nora's conviction was formally vacated. On the record, at last, her name was clean. Nora and I are not healed. I won't tell you we hugged and the years melted away, because that would be one more lie, and I am done with those. But last week she came to the house again. She sat at that same kitchen table, and before she left, she said, "I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it because Mom asked us both to be free, and you'll never be free carrying this alone." It wasn't forgiveness. It was something harder and more honest than forgiveness. It was a beginning. I told a courtroom I knew exactly what I heard. The truth is, the thing I couldn't stand to look at was never in that room at all. It was in me. And it took my mother, reaching out from beyond her own grave, to finally make me see it. Here's what I'll ask you before you go. Is there a resentment you've carried so long that you've stopped noticing its weight? One you've quietly dressed up as something more respectable? Be honest, if only in the comments. I'll be reading every single one.